All the grey bits are uncharted. 0.1, 0.2 of a metre deep. So in here, this is all rock, so you can't afford to hit the bottom.
So what's going on, babe?
We are just leaving Guruliya Bay. We came in here late yesterday. It was blowing 30s plus, so we tucked in behind a little ledge. The catamaran that was in there had already taken the best spot, so we took one a bit further out, not wanting to encroach on his anchorage. And it was only ever going to be an overnighter to get out of the wind, and it was good for that. Yeah, they're forecasting strong winds tomorrow for a few days, so we're going to head over to another island group away from the Wessels. Well, some charts it says it's part of the Wessels, some charts it doesn't. But we're heading over to Refuge Bay. I can't remember the name of the island that it's on, but it's on Elcho Island, which is a fairly large Aboriginal community on that island, and that's where we're heading. So it's going to forecast fairly boisterous winds today, in the 25 to 30 range, but it's only a short hop across this strait, the Brown Strait, around Stevens Island. Nice original names they've picked, and then we hook a left and sort of go southwest down to Refuge Bay. So it's a 40 nautical mile day, nice easy one. We've left early, and we've just got the engine running now because it's cloudy, overcast today and overcast yesterday, so the solar hasn't kept up and done its job properly, so we're just running the engine for half an hour to top the batteries up. Otherwise, give you an update later on. See ya. And I forgot to say, we're out of fish. So we've been fishing desperately now for 3 days. We've only caught one queenie, which we returned. It was only a little one. So we're desperate for fish, so stay watching for fish in action. So yeah. Are you still there?
I think we just caught a fish.
The excitement's on!
We're a bit excited. So what do you need me to do?
Just going to move the
Take
cushion
the cushions?
because we don't want to get the big cushion soiled.
No. Any more?
Yeah, that's fine.
One. Okay. Yep. Right. Do you need your knife or?
No, pretty well.
All sorted?
Just take my glasses off before I lose them.
Okay.
We landed that fish, so Wendy's going to make namas with that, which is like a ceviche, except it's not done in lime like your traditional ceviche. It's done with vinegar. So that's what she's going to do with that one. And I'm going to put this back in because once it's turned into ceviche, you can't really cook it on the barbecue. This is going back in to get another pelagic species like a Spanish mackerel or mahi-mahi or spotted mackerel, tuna, something like that.
I'm gonna make up some namas. Got our queen fish there, chopped up. Just gonna put everything in a jar and let it sit for a while, and then yum yum. About 22 knots of breeze. 2 sails up. I've been proofing this little sourdough loaf. It's got sun-dried tomatoes and multigrains. So time to go in the oven. Have it for morning tea. We just left the anchorage, and it was pretty windy leaving, and then it dropped down to something a bit more manageable, like 20. Now we're getting gusts of over 40, so it's a bit wild out here, but it's not big waves or anything. It's like quite comfortable, sort of, you know, as comfortable as it can be. Yeah, so I'm only doing about 20 miles today. It might change depending on the look of the anchorage.
Big wave over the top for ages.
And we might keep going. We haven't quite decided. It will depend on what it all looks like. So yeah. Still trying to work out the oven. So, maybe not quite so hot next time. We're just about to leave our anchorage at Elcho Island and head around the corner to the Aboriginal community to get some water and hopefully some food from the supermarket. But our permits are still pending, so we may have to get a bit of assistance. We may not be allowed to land. So yeah. We've left Galiwinku. We were hoping that we could perhaps pick up a little bit of water, but that wasn't meant to be. We did have a permit pending, but unfortunately it didn't come through in time, even though it's been applied for, I don't know, quite a few months ago. Anyway, we've left, so it looks like we might end up doing a night sail, who knows, to get to the next spot that's safe to anchor. We're now on our way to, what's it called, Milingimbi? Milingimbi, where we do have a permit, and we will be welcome. So we are looking forward, or I am definitely looking forward to getting to there, to have a walk and have a little look at the community and get some fresh veggies and some water, and that's where we're at. So we don't really have a planned anchorage because we were not planning on this, so we'll see where we end up. See ya! Beautiful morning. Bit of a rolly night, but it was a safe anchorage. It's a lot calmer now. When we came in yesterday, we were getting 50 knots. It's crazy. So yeah, land over there. Beautiful morning. Magnus has told me that today is a technical sailing day. So a bit later on I will ask him to explain how that works.
Technical navigation.
Very rolly. Check out the colour of this water.
It gives you the heebie-jeebies because you think there's sandbars everywhere.
So why is it this colour, babe?
It's very shallow and there's a lot of tidal movement through here. So all the sand and silt and the mud gets stirred up by the tide moving backwards and forwards. Yeah. And that's why it's all discoloured.
And where are we?
We're in the Castlereigh Bay, north of Milingimbi, and west of Galiwinku and east of Maningrida. So, but we're in Castlereigh Bay and we're just heading through this treacherous bit of navigation. I'll show you it later on. It's pretty tight and windy, and because we don't like to motor, we like to sail, it makes it even more difficult. And the fact that at the moment, just after spring tide, so we've got 4 metre tides, 4.5 metre tides, and the current runs through here at about 5 knots. It's hardly blowing at all, and we're doing 4 knots. So I've had to time it for this section to get through at a certain point where we turn south, for that tidal change to occur exactly then. So then the current will carry us south. So let's hope it all works out, otherwise we have to drop the anchor and wait a little while. But it's only 16 metres deep, so we can drop the anchor anywhere here. Alright, so a quick update.
Yeah, there's a ship behind us.
The ship, I'll just go out, zoom out. So there's the ship behind us.
Yeah.
And there's us. And this is where our closest point of approach is going to be. With our current heading and speeds.
Yeah.
Which is at the point where we start to turn a little bit south.
But he might change his direction, mightn't he? He might turn south too.
He will, because he'll be going the same place as us.
Okay. There's the ship. Well, we've arrived at this anchorage, which is about 6 miles north of Milingimbi, and we're going to wait here for the tide. The tide is out at the moment, and then we will head south to the community and pop in, have a bit of a look around, hopefully go to the shop and get some fresh veggies and water, and then we will leave there at about 3:30 to catch the tide back to here, because it gets very shallow and it's very tricky. So that's the plan.
we started here in the bay, and it was a nice, quite easy sail out, and then in between a couple of these shallow spots. I'll just zoom in there. But as you can see here, all these grey areas, all this area here, up here, all the grey bits are uncharted. So you've got to sort of stick between the uncharted sections because you don't know if there's reef or rocks or anything in there. So we came through here. We met another ship who passed us coming through here. Then you dodge around this bit of reef here, and there's some rocks here. And then you can't really see it on this chart, but on the other chart this extends a bit further north, so we sort of did a hard turn through there. Then we had to time the tide, because coming down through this section there were bits that were only, zoom in, zoom out here. Coming through this section there were real shallow bits. There were only 0.1, 0.2 of a metre deep, so we timed the tide to come through there, and incoming tide as well, because you've got about a 2 to 3 knot tidal flow at the moment, current flow. So in here this is all rock, so you can't afford to hit the bottom. Then scoot around these shallow bits, staying in the deep charted area, and then it was an easy run to our anchorage here just near Wessel Island. But today we're going to go out the different way. We're going to leave here in about half an hour, just before the turn of the tide. We'll get to about here at high tide, and then it's deep water all the way until you get to, because you can see here, zoom in, zoom out, you can see here that they've only charted a narrow little channel through this. Either side of it is uncharted territory, so you don't know what's there. But as you can see, 0.4 is the shallowest through this section. We draw 1.8, so we need a bit of tide to get through there. So we're going to go on a 3 metre tide. We'll be here at top of the tide, which will be about 4. Then by the time we get there, it'll be just over, or about 3.5 metres. And then once we get over this section here, the shallow bit of 0.4, we're fine to go, because as you can see, it's deep water all the way out to the charted area. So this bit here that they've charted is only actually 150 metres wide. Even though it shows no rocks here in the uncharted areas, there could well be rocks. So you just got to stick in that section. But as you can see, once we get out of that in here and keep heading west today, it's still all uncharted down here. We're going to be turning west and then around here to Cape Stewart. So again, we're going to be going in through uncharted territory. As you can see, all this territory is uncharted, but lots of boats have used this Cape Stewart anchorage, and they all say that there are no hazards as long as you take a wide berth around to Cape Stewart. It's not the most ideal anchorage, because the easterly rollers, or the easterly swell, does come around the corner here, and it is a rolly anchorage. But to time the tide out of here, if we left first thing this morning, we could have got to the next anchorage at False Point, or even further around. But because we're having to wait for the tide, we're not going to make it to False Point, because to get to False Point you've got to go around this and then down, and we won't have enough daylight to make it there. It's all uncharted through here, so you need to look out. So we're going to stop at Cape Stewart. So that's, as you can see, it was zoomed out too much. As you can see, it was a tricky navigation there day before yesterday, and it's going to be not tricky today, because we've planned it perfectly, touch wood, out through this narrow charted section and then off. So there you go.